During my journey pursuing a degree in media and communications, I have been challenged on multiple accounts to analyze and gain a deeper understanding of what this focus has to offer. Every day, people commute, compute, and connect. The course text is titled Converging Media, written by John V. Pavlik and Sean McIntosh. Before diving into the reading, students were yielded to take a look at the cover. The writers behind the text came to a decision to use the term converging in their title. My classmates and I were asked to think of this word as a metaphor. I've constantly been able to think on a deeper level and draw inferences during class. Attending class required sharing my ideas and breaking assumptions. Students were given a task that required research, description, and an analysis of a podcast. I'd chosen a podcast called Snap Judgment that had its first airing in 2010. It has continued since then to enchant their audience with intimate storytelling of past experiences. Glenn Washington is one of the voices behind the show that drew me in with a faceless sense of familiarity. He uses youthful terminology that was more prevalent in the 90s that admits a wider audience. He eases listeners in by using humor that most humans can connect to. He stated in his local Oakland magazine that we want to create a vicarious experience to find stories that introduce you to someone else's world. He explains that they want to expand and not shrink the human experience. Washington and a few others like myself have an awareness of how genuine human interaction can be reduced through frequencies. The radio has the ability to reach further audience through these frequencies, though. Listening at the actual time of a certain report is no longer required. Today, a lot of people expect this convenience from the radio through the television and other mediums. Audiences now have entertainment and union at the touch of a finger with the help of a smartphone. Applications that are downloadable via a cellular device vary from these podcasts to video games, social media, and dating apps. Apps like Happen, Bumble, and Tinder have become popular for their ability to help ignite love connections over a smartphone. I've recently delved into my own experience with one of these apps. I decided one night after a couple of drinks with friends to give one of these apps a chance. It may allow me to make a new beau or simply reestablish my disappointment in 20-somethings. After uploading the app and creating an account, I first felt excitement and later remorse for losing my stable-minded 22-year-old brain. I have bought into a company that permits people to judge others based on first appearances. I then reevaluated and admitted that when a person finds someone else attractive, they are more likely to want to approach them. I also consoled myself that it's okay to try new things. I proceeded to swipe away only to match with people who would send messages that were composed of abbreviations and emojis, most of which were inappropriate, hilarious, or both, taking away all seriousness that the app could offer in finding me a true match. Having friends do this experiment with me allowed me to see other people's points of view. One of my good friends were able to sort through the jokers and find a great person they may have never crossed paths with in person. They've been able to meet and found that this app and others like it can be a hit rather than a miss. Catfish was raised from this concern that online dating can have its dangers. No, not that Catfish. Catfish, the television show that is featured on MTV. The show is titled Catfish after a documentary starring Nev Schulman. Urban Dictionary defines this term as someone who pretends to be someone they're not using Facebook or other social media to create false identities, particularly to pursue deceptive online romances. The television series consists of a collaborative team that follows, with camera in tow, journeys in which one side of an online relationship tries to introduce their online love affair to the real world. The people who are involved in these online relationships have had trouble arranging a meetup. It is rare that there are genuine barriers that prevent the partners from Skyping or booking a flight to see one another. These instances where meeting is nearly impossible usually involve a catfish. This show publicly outs those folk. But what about the thousands of other victims that are currently being catfished or have an expectation of a person online that wasn't as accurate in the real world? My professor talked about a moral system built on fiction. In relation to this online dating realm, people almost expect there to be false representations. Social cues used in direct messaging systems, on social media, or on a dating app can help someone notice that there are falsehoods within the relationship, making it easier to spot them. Nice try, though, buddy. There is a mutuality that occurs when people have the chance to bond over a computer when distance is a problem. With family and friends, I use Facebook and FaceTime to feel closer to them. I have the chance to have conversations and even see the faces of those I love. Really allowing our devices to overtake our interactions in the real world? Or are we just making use of the technological advances in order to connect more conveniently? The text explains that there are 3 defining characteristics of interactivity that involve human-to-computer dialogue, feedback, and human control of the content. They prove to me that the internet is simply the channel.